Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Today I'm in this 2019 Land Rover Discovery. This 5th generation Discovery has been around since 2017. I keep wrongly referring to it as the Disco 5. You just assume, wouldn't you, after the Discovery 2, 3 and 4, Land Rover would have called it the 5, but they didn't. Interestingly, this is the first Discovery to be called the Discovery in the US. Previous models were just called the LR3 and LR4. When the Discovery first came out in 1989, it was designed to be a slightly more luxurious Defender, as the original Range Rover was, but that was becoming increasingly more upmarket, so they needed something to fill the gap. You know, something that a farmer could use on his farm, but then also take it out on the weekend. Well, this all-new Discovery isn't just a slightly more luxurious Defender. No, this could give a Range Rover a run for its money. The model I'm in today I borrowed from a friend of mine, Alex at AMD Automotive, so I'll leave a link below to his website. Anyway, this model is the top-spec luxury HSE model, and it has the 306 horsepower SDV6. This has things like a heated steering wheel, deployable side steps, and 7 seats which you can fold down at the touch of a button. I just can't see many farmers shelling out nearly £80,000, which is what this cost when it was new, and then using it as a workhorse. This is the Chelseaest of tractors. Styling-wise, this car really divides opinions. There are lots of people out there who don't like it. People don't like the off-centre rear number plate or the way the roof steps up, but I do. I think it's a very clever nod to the past, while dragging the Discovery into the 21st century. The thing that does take some getting used to though is the size of it. It's a big car this, especially for these narrow UK roads. But overall I think it's quite good looking. It's instantly recognisable. If I'm being really critical, the rear overhang is a little bit ungainly, but that does translate to lots of interior space. It's a genuine 7-seater this car. And when I say 7-seater I mean 7 seats big enough for adults. There's plenty of headroom, plenty of legroom in all 7 seats. And all the doors open out very wide, so access is excellent. I'd be very happy to have one sitting on my driveway, especially in Carpathian grey with all the black bits. I think it looks good. I mean, it's not as boxy or as conservative as the Discovery 4, but I still think it's a good looking car. I've been driving this now for a few hours and I can tell you straight away that it doesn't feel like a Discovery. It feels like a Range Rover. It's much more upmarket than the previous model. What Land Rover have done with this car is make it a genuine rival to the Mercedes GLS, the BMW X7, the Audi Q7. I think they've pulled it off. And unlike all of its German rivals, this is genuinely capable off-road. It's a bit of a jack of all trades, this. This new Discovery is one of the most capable off-roaders Land Rover have ever made. It has a weighed-in depth of 900mm and an all-new version of its clever terrain response system. This thing will get you anywhere. It's much lighter than the previous model, and I don't mean 50 kilos or 100 kilos. I'm talking 480 kilos lighter than the outgoing model. And that's all thanks to its sophisticated aluminium body and chassis. If this thing were a person, it would be releasing a fitness DVD. Because it's far lighter than the 4, it means it's much more efficient, and it goes around corners better. As you're driving along, it feels as though you're in a Range Rover. It feels luxurious, opulent almost. The ride's quite soft, and it does feel a little bit top-heavy, but it's nowhere near as wallowy as a full-size Range Rover. And it's nowhere near as harsh as a Range Rover Sport. I would say as far as ride and handling go, this has got to be the best in Land Rover's lineup, or the best for the real world anyway. This model has adjustable air suspension, but coil springs are standard on base models. So if you want one less thing to go wrong, perhaps go with the coil springs. Under the bonnet of this one is a 3-litre turbo diesel V6. This is the quicker SDV6, which produces 306 horsepower. You could also go for a 3-litre supercharged petrol, and there are a couple of 4-cylinders to choose from, either a 2-litre Ingenium diesel or a 2-litre Ingenium petrol. Now the figures on the 2-litre diesel do look genuinely impressive. They've managed to get 240 horsepower from it, but I just can't imagine that engine being particularly reliable when it gets to 100,000 miles. I think you're just asking too much from a small engine. It'd be a bit like trying to move the Titanic with the engine from a jet ski. So if it were my own money I was spending, I would go for the SDV6. This one will do 0 to 60 in around 7.5 seconds and keep going until it reaches 130 miles an hour. Now, it never feels quick, but equally, it never feels slow either. You put your foot down, and there is plenty of power. They all use an 8-speed automatic gearbox, you can't buy a manual, and it does a pretty good job. Kickdowns are quick and immediate, and the gear changes are fairly seamless. Fuel-wise, I've done a variety of driving this morning, and I've averaged 30 miles per gallon. It's also more eco-friendly than the outgoing model. This one only puts out 202 grams of CO2 per kilometre, which makes it ULEZ friendly. On a steady motorway run, there's no reason why you shouldn't see 38 miles per gallon from this. Moving inside the new Discovery, I think the interior is great. It's stylish, modern, but also very functional. It's all very upmarket. I mean, it's worlds away from the original Discovery with its sickly pale blue interior. Remember that removable bag that they had in the centre console? I genuinely don't know what they were thinking of. Anyway, it's tons better. It really feels like a car fit for 2021. You could spend a lot of time in this car and never tire of it. The seats are very comfortable and supportive. The steering wheel feels nice to use. The infotainment system's very user-friendly and the display's very crisp. I love the secret drawer you get. It's a bit sad how excited I get over a secret compartment, but I don't know, maybe it's a man thing. All of the buttons and switches feel almost as good as a full-size Range Rover. When I say almost, I mean there are certain areas, like the rubber they've used around the rotary gear selector. It doesn't feel as upmarket as a full-size Vogue. In this, they've made it feel a little bit more utilitarian. Things like the lower parts of the door cards are a little bit plasticky, but they've done that on purpose so that if you get them splattered in mud, you can easily wipe it off. So yeah, overall it isn't quite as luxurious as a full-size Range Rover, but very close. I love the digital dash and the fact that you can customise it. I like the fact that the map stays in the centre, a bit like all new Audis. This being the luxury HSE model has absolutely everything. The reverse camera is crystal clear, the Meridian sound system's excellent. It really does have a lot going for it. There's also plenty of storage compartments. You get 2 big cup holders there, a very deep centre console storage, and lots of storage in the door cards. The driving position, as you might expect, is excellent. It's very commanding. You sit up high over almost every other car on the road. Visibility is excellent because you've got these big slab-sided windows. What's funny is you forget just how big this car is until you turn around and realise that the back window is about 1.5 miles behind you. Thankfully, it's got front and rear parking sensors and cameras, so it'd be quite difficult to get into difficulty with this. Being that it's a Land Rover, I think we've got to talk about reliability. Now, Land Rover have been trying to improve the reliability over the last few years, so time will tell on that front. But so far as my own personal experience goes, you might have things like one of the deployable side steps might not open, or one of the roof blinds might not close. But they're just niggly things that I think you can live with. My own experience tells me that they're no less reliable than any of the German rivals. I've certainly never been stranded by mine, touch wood. So I wouldn't let other people's preconceived ideas about reliability put you off buying one of these. Used prices here in the UK start at around £30,000, but that's going to get you a high mileage, low spec example. For a low mileage, high spec example like this, expect to spend just over 50. Now I know that's a hell of a lot of money for a Discovery, but you can't look at this as a Discovery because it's a genuine rival to the Mercedes GLS, Audi Q7, BMW X7. It's a 7-seat Range Rover basically. When you think of it like that, you can just about justify it. I think this has a lot more charm than the German rivals. You can safely buy one of these and not come across as a flash Harry. If I wanted a large 7-seat SUV, then I would certainly consider a new Discovery. I mean, the X7's hideous. I've never been a big fan of the Q7, and the Mercedes GLS just makes you look like a rich housewife from Weybridge. So I think that pretty much sums up the new Land Rover Discovery. It's a great car, perhaps a little bit too big for UK roads, and it's a little bit on the pricey side, but genuinely capable both on and off-road, and certainly, without doubt, the best Discovery Land Rover I've ever made. So, thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'll leave the link below. If you're interested in getting into the used car business, then check out my online course. I've created an online portal with nearly 100 videos which explain every single aspect of the used car business. From funding options to sourcing cars to preparing cars for sale, it's all on there, so do check it out. So yeah, cheers guys, I'll see you next time.